everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, I can hear you, but I cannot see you. So you can do whatever you want right now. Okay, as Mary Beth just said, I'm Amy Kaufman. I'm with Community Partners for Affordable Housing. Is my slide up by any chance? Can somebody roll the slides? There we go. Community Partners for Affordable Housing, or as I'm going to refer to us, CPAH, C-P-A-H. So what do? We are a local nonprofit that provides affordable housing right here in Evanston for households that are low income. How do we do that? We go out into the community and we buy properties. We buy houses, we buy apartment buildings, and we give them as green a rehab as possible, and then we rent them or sell them to people who are low income for an affordable price. You want to roll the next slide, please? Our journey with you began on a service day when a bunch of you, cheer for yourselves, came to help us rehab an apartment building that is now about to be an affordable home for 5 households. It really is pretty great. If you roll the next slide, I'm going to tell you a story. Okay, look at this family. All right, this is a family that has had a tragic story. This was a family living the white picket fence lifestyle, which I'm sure many of you are well acquainted with, as was I when I was growing up. We were amongst the lucky. And they were living the American dream. House, 4 kids, successful dad who had a career in Chicago. But the dad, his name is Lawrence, began to notice that his wife was exhibiting signs of serious mental illness. So over the next months, he realized he could no longer maintain that career in Chicago, that he had to be closer to home to help take care of the 4 young kids. So Lawrence moves from Chicago, takes a job closer to home, but that job is really not enough to pay the bills. Eventually, his wife goes out of town for treatment, they lose their house, they file for bankruptcy. So now Lawrence is a single dad. And he's one of the lucky ones. He finds a rental apartment, moves into the rental apartment with his 4 kids, feels very grateful. But guess what happens? The landlord shows up one day and says, Lawrence, your rent is going up by $300 a month. Lawrence can't afford $300 a month. Now he's out of options. And as he says, all he had left for him and his family was the community that they lived in. That's all they had. Affordable housing is a basic human need. That's why what you guys are doing by funding ECF is so important. You cannot overstate what it means to somebody to have a roof over their heads. It means that if you don't have a roof over your head, you can't worry about whether or not you have something to eat. You can't worry about whether or not you have health care. So think of it this way. Think of it as some of you have jobs. Figure you take your income and you split it into 3 buckets. A bucket for housing, a bucket for food and medicine, and a bucket for clothing and transportation. What happens when your housing costs more than what's in the first bucket? You not only then don't have a decent place to live, but you don't have good food, you don't have good medicine, and you can't get to work because you can't afford the car. It's absolutely a spiral if you do not have affordable housing. You want to roll the next slide? Okay, so that is the house, that is the apartment building that we worked on together. And what you guys did was come together for us and help us rehab that apartment building, which is now going to be home, like I said, to 5 families. Can you scroll again? And keep scrolling. So this is you guys. This is you guys. This is you guys partnering with us. And really, by supporting ECF, you are helping us. You are really, truly the heroes of this. I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts. One is that, first of all, Lawrence, our single dad, who is back in that other slide, he's now living in a CPAH affordable apartment with his 4 kids. And his reaction is, It all started with the anchor of housing, and slowly but surely they are putting one foot in front of the other, and they are beginning to heal. Life is beginning to get better. It is not the whole answer. It's just part of the answer, but it's a huge part of the answer, because if you don't have permanent housing, you're really worried about where you're going to be living in 6 months or 8 months, and it's a huge challenge in the city of Evanston. I cannot tell you how many people, they cut your hair, they pack your groceries, they're working at ETHS, they're techs at the hospital, and they cannot afford to live here. And they are really worried about how they're going to provide their kids with the kind of things that we take for granted, the good parks, the good schools, the good access to health care. And guess what? If you don't live here, you don't get to have access to that stuff. So it's so profoundly important what you are doing. We are such huge fans of yours. Please give yourselves a huge round of applause. We cannot wait for what the future is with you. And finally, I want to say, you guys are the future. The people who are standing here looking at me now, you are the ones who are going to be taking care of our communities. That's what you've shown so far. You're the ones who are going to pay it forward and make sure that people are not left behind, and that you take people with you and give access to people in your communities who need the access to the schools and the health care. So we're really proud. Mary Beth is an unbelievable partner. You guys are now in the SEPA tent, and we're not going to let you go. So thank you. Congratulations, and keep on dancing.